Tick, that worked. Let me just go live. Reminder's just gone off on my phone. Share to your page. Oh gosh, here we go. It's live streaming or preparing, sorry. Got to find the script as well. Well, the notes. We should be live, I think.
Yeah, I can see live on the top of the screen.
Brilliant. So we've done it.
Well done.
Good evening. Hopefully it's working well. We don't have Nina with us this time round, so I feel like I'm a little bit out on a limb. But hopefully we're live, and if there's any problems, somebody will pop up and tell us that they can't hear us or anything like that.
On my phone. We're okay, I
think. Brilliant. Oh wow, yes, this meeting is being live streamed. It does say. I wonder if there's a little bit of a delay. I don't know. Oh, and it's saying on top of the screen. Woohoo! welcome everybody. I really hope you've joined us. Not sure how many people saw the story earlier, but I'm supposed to be at Laura's house tonight, but because it's January and the weather's horrendous, I stayed at home. So it just seemed more sensible to do it that way. So we're trying to do a Zoom across 3 areas. As I said before, we haven't got Nina today. This is Laura and I going on our first live on our own, and we're going from 3 locations. So I feel like we're tech geniuses right now. We've got lots of questions that people have sort of submitted. I'm going to chat to Lisa, as you all know, and then if there's any questions afterwards, we'll kind of well, put it over to you guys then and pop up. The only caveat I suppose I wanted to throw in is if anybody writes anything in earlier and we miss it, we're very sorry. You might have to repeat it later on. So we'll do our best to keep an eye on everything, and hopefully it all flows well.
Wonderful. Great.
So Lisa, are you all right just to kick off with telling us a bit about yourself and your sort of fitness and well-being journey, and then why you choose to work with the clients that you choose to work with currently, and you know, and some of those are mums, aren't they? So it'd be good just to hear a bit about that first, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm 41 years old, and my background is corporate life. I was a buyer for over 15 years, and I fell very heavily into that sort of unbearable work balance and not having any life balance. And I use fitness as an outlet for me in terms of to get away from the pressure of what the 9-to-5 job in essence was bringing. I was actually diagnosed with anxiety, so I needed an outlet. It was all very much in a time when there was a big stigma around anxiety as well, so we weren't really wanting to be revealing, you know, the feelings that you were having. So I turned to fitness, and then unfortunately I got a really unhealthy relationship with it. So in terms of, I became a cardio queen. I'd be going to the gym every day, working out as long as I could, you know, 1 to 2 hours at a time, very restrictive on my food. So I was following, if you like, in terms of what the media were wanting you to sort of see as well during that time, like the heroin chic, which is now supposedly a fashionable way of looking at the moment. Again, that's come back in the rounds, and during the 90s when I was growing up, it was very much all about that thigh gap and being very thin and sort of, you know, no meat upon you at all whatsoever. So when my relationships between fitness and food were getting quite dangerous, it's when I actually started to think about me wanting to understand what I needed to do. So how to fuel my body the correct way, how to get over the anxiety that I was suffering with about eating and my, you know, food intakes, and then also in terms of training the right way for me. So actually developing and expanding myself into weight training, as opposed to just sort of going onto the treadmill, you know, every day, like I was in the past. So from that, I found a really great positive way. It helped with me from a mental point of view by being able to understand everything myself, and sort of making the changes myself and seeing the changes within myself as well. I wanted to sort of help people. So I set up my business just before lockdown. So I was qualified and ready to go, and then we went straight into lockdown.
Oh no.
Yeah, typical. But either made you or broke you, as they say. And I started to reach out, and I started to be able to understand and be more feedback I've been getting is approachable in the sense of the mental health aspect of it. I'm not a coach who is wanting to get you bikini ready in the sense of to do a photo shoot. I've done a photo shoot. That was a very difficult emotional turmoil for me as well. But I love to be able to help people. Literally, my motto is you're starting from the top. So it's always starting from your mindset before I'll even start working with you in regards to how to be starting the exercise journey and the health journey as well. So it head, shoulders, knees and toes is what I say. Following
That's
that
a really good way of thinking about it, actually, isn't it? I've never thought about it like that, but yeah, you're right, top down. Yeah,
exactly. So I work with, basically my clientele are mums, so they're either full-time mums or they are in the corporate world, so managing a career and also a home life too. And the things that they struggle with are very much the time limitations, meal preparing in the sense of what they're meant to be doing with that, ensuring that a exercise program and a nutrition program isn't overtaking their life. So it's trying to find the good balance for them, that a plan fits into their lifestyle, not your lifestyle trying to fit into a plan. And like I said, it's starting very much from the beginning with everything, and then sort of seeing that journey through. And I'm very much adaptable. So I've got there's one specific client actually who she'll message me quite frequently to say, I just can't do it today. I just can't get myself to the gym, don't know what to do. And it's those touch points that are so important, where it's basically trying to assess what the situation is, take that overwhelm and pressure away from the client so they understand that their body's telling them, actually today I just don't have the energy to do it, and sort of talking them through it to be able to draw a line under it and move on and start afresh the next day. So that's what I absolutely love of working with people. All the feedback is very much about how their mindset has changed so much, and they get the results that they deserve because they've found out what it needs, their barriers to sort of that we can overcome. So very long-winded answer, apologies for that.
No, it's not. I think Gemma and I probably it's a little bit of a selfish thing doing this chat as well, because we're really keen to hear, because I think we both had different sort of fitness, health and well-being journeys, and sort of thinking about ways that we can try and improve things and small changes really, and everyone's got a different story, haven't they? Ups and downs, and probably different relationships with the journey. And I think from my point of view, after having second little one, I've completely lost the plot from a fitness perspective and nutrition and all of it, and I've just started putting some new healthy habits back in. But I'm so keen to get back into running and Pilates and sort of learn a bit more about the strength training side of things as well. And it is hard, even though you really, really want to do it. It's so easy to push it to the bottom of the list, isn't it? And so I think it's trying to reset things a little bit really. So yeah, definitely can understand some of the things you've just mentioned there, definitely.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't know if like you, when we had the first one, I was kind of okay. I sort of obviously your world's turned upside down, but I managed to kind of get into some kind of routine, sort of involving her a bit, maybe not. And then I managed to find the time a bit more. I rember Phoebe slept after 15 months, but I could do a spin class sort of 3 times a week before work. And I fell into the sort of really good rhythms with it. When I say spin class, sorry, it was my own bike in the conservatory with a YouTube video, but you know what I mean, it's still a class. Whereas since having Emily, I just feel like the whole world's completely upside down. Like Laura said, lost the plot a little bit with it all. She doesn't sleep, so I don't sleep. And I just can't seem to get into a rhythm. I can't seem to get into a routine, even at 19 months. And when I did try and find a little bit of time to sort of do things, if I went for a run, I'd end up hurting myself because I just wasn't strong enough to do it, or I get run down really quickly, so I end up getting ill. And I just thought, oh, it's just not worth it. But trouble is, and my legs really miss running, my mind really misses running, and you fall into that bit of a bit of a negative vortex, I want to say, really, because you just beat yourself up all the time because you want to get into the healthy habits. And mine are shocking, hence the whole Haribo jelly snake before we started the call.
And in your head you think, oh, it's only half an hour of my day, surely I can fit it in. But when you're working, and by the time you get the kids to bed or whatever, and you've had a battle to get them to bed, and then you're starving or whatever, that half an hour all of a sudden seems impossible, doesn't it, some days? So yeah, and any tips you can give us on that?
Yeah, and I guess maybe sort of, I suppose, selfishly from my perspective, so what kind of habits would you say are good for people, when the sleep deprivation is there to the point where I don't know what would be helpful, you're so sleep deprived but you still want to have the healthy habits, what kind of, I don't know, strength bits or could we be looking at, sort of a bit more low impact, I suppose?
But that's the thing, it's interesting how both of you ladies, you kind of gone straight into the only way to get fit and healthy is to exercise. And that's where it's, again, sort of going into that mindset and actually going, hang on a second, yes, okay, we need to move, but moving doesn't have to be going on the bike or going for a run or anything like that. Doing the housework, that's a blooming workout in itself as well, in terms of what you're doing. And it is just moving as much as you can, going for a walk. There's little things. So I always say to everybody, when they're working with me, we spend a couple of weeks where it's a case of getting you to ensure that you're drinking enough water, so you're staying hydrated. A lot of the time, I know there's a lot of conflicting messages within the media, but sometimes we can misinterpret a thirst for being hungry. So we'll go to the sugary snacks if you like, because we think, yeah, I'm hungry, when actually you just need to be hydrated and be more of that. Then it's also looking at, in terms of your food intake and what you are eating. A lot of people don't eat enough for what they are doing. And in the sense of, if you think about, so you guys, you've got children, you're working full time, you've got your own business as well that you're sort of picking up, the amount of energy that you will be using will be so much that you won't be eating enough at all. So that then it's trying to think about how we can introduce the right fuel into your diet to ensure you've got the energy to be doing everything that you are doing. And then you've got to start looking at your sleep as well. So these are my main three things. But I say, obviously, it's not going to happen overnight. It takes time, but it's then trying to start finding a little routine for yourself within an evening, making sure you've got that half an hour of time where there's no screens, there's no engagement in anything, and you're sort of trying to find something to calm yourself down, sort of empty that mind out and get into a really relaxed state and frame of mind to give you a good rest. There is advice in terms of 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, but obviously that's not always going to be the case. But it's just, again, it's just trying to relax yourself. In terms of an exercise point of view, there is so much that you can do. So, for example, I don't know, let's say if you are working from home one day, let's say on average you maybe have, 6 brews a day. You go to the kettle to make a hot drink. During that time, you can either have a couple of cans of beans, or if you do have some, low dumbbells at home, you can start doing some bicep curls, while you're waiting for the kettle to boil. So you can do 8 reps or 10 reps of those 3 times. You can go away again, come back again. And the next time you can do some shoulder presses, or when you're sort of going to make dinner later on, you can be doing some squats while you're waiting for the water to boil.
Squatting at the oven.
That's it, exactly. So again, you've got that base to hold on to as well for while you're doing that. So there's loads of little things like that where you're starting to introduce those habits slowly into the things that you're already doing. So therefore, it's not feeling like, my God, where am I going to find half an hour to do this blooming exercise routine that I've been given to do?
I suppose it's a bit like squeeze your pelvic floor as you pull off the drive. And that sounds mental, but that's when I do it. You need to do 10 a day or whatever.
Yes.
Sorry, probably too much information for everybody here, but we need to do our pelvic floor squeezes or whatever. And I make sure I've done 10 to 20 before I'm at the end of the road. But it's funny how it's ingrained in your head. So yeah, perhaps it's that, shifting your mindset a little bit.
It is, it really is.
I'm going to try oven squats, I think, this week.
Yeah, exactly. But you'll start thinking about things, and then you'll start thinking that association with what you're doing, and then slowly you'll be able to start thinking, actually, I can go out for a 20-minute walk today, and that's going to be my exercise for today. Or you can even think about a 20-minute exercise. There's things that you can do, like I've put up on my Instagram feed the other day, it's a hotel room workout.
I saw with the iron.
Yes, right, that's it. You don't even have to have the iron, but in the sense of what you can do, what you can utilize, you don't even have to be in your sports gear, but you've got straight away, right there, you can do a routine. And with exercise, it's about consistency as well. So you don't have to keep doing different things all the time, different classes, different routines. You can have that one routine that you can do 2-3 times a week. And it's just about building up that strength, building up that consistency, where you can start progressing.
Thank you. I would like to point out that there's water in coffee, so we could hydrate ourselves.
Yes, I love coffee, so I'm absolutely no problem with that. Your coffee is still a fluid intake.
Good.
So is wine.
Thank God for that coffee and wine. We're sorted. We'll be okay.
I know.
Oh, that's great. So should we get into some of the questions that we've had quite a few sent in beforehand, so thanks everybody. I'm not sure we'll get through them all because Lisa's been very popular, but we'll try our best. So the first one that we've got is what would be your top tip for a busy mum who wants to create some new healthy habits? And I think we've sort of covered a lot of that, haven't we, in that last bit of the chat. Really, there's a bit of a theme around busy mums and what they can do. So I think we can probably assume that one's covered. And then the next one is, how important is it for mums to get back into exercise?
Yeah, I found this an interesting one, because I then started thinking about it. Well, how important is it for you to get back into exercise? So why are you thinking that? Are you feeling, because to me that question was asked as a feeling of pressure around, just because I've had a child, I should now be getting back into a routine of that. It's always ensuring that if you're wanting to get back into an exercise routine, that you have a goal for it, there's a reason for it. So for example, is it a case of you want to have that time for yourself? Absolutely fine, because you're going to have that want and desire to do it. But if you're feeling like it's something that I should be doing rather than I'm wanting to be doing, again, going back to that whole mindset point of view on that, what is your reason behind it?
Unless it was, I was going to say, it's funny, isn't it? One question, but we've interpreted it slightly differently, I think. Because I think my take on it was, I didn't know if the person was coming from how important is it, as in, rather than, I suppose I took it from a, how do I explain myself? A health perspective, then how important is it in terms of getting your muscles back together and this, that and the other. So is it important, or is it a good idea for mums, I suppose, to be fit and get into exercise and kind of help their bodies restore a bit afterwards?
Absolutely, because in the sense of that, you want to be able to have that level of fitness to be able to run around with your children, don't you? And to be able to not feel like you're self-conscious in yourself and missing out on memories and not being able to run after them. So I think fitness is always a great thing in terms of, from the mental side of things and the health side of things, in terms of illnesses, heart attacks, high blood pressure, all of those kind of things as well. So as long as you're safe to do so after having had a child, in the sense of, I think it's up to 12 weeks before you are able to train. But absolutely, and again, like I've mentioned, it doesn't have to be a heavy routine of what you're doing.
I was just going to say, it doesn't have to be a
No
marathon, does it?
No, absolutely, that's it. And it's focusing on exercise you enjoy. So whether that's going to a dance class or anything like that, it just doesn't have to, you don't have to go full-blown gym membership and off you go.
Yeah, I think that resonates a lot, actually, with what you said around wanting to do it and not needing to do it. Because if you feel like you just need to do it, it's going to become another task, isn't it? And you're not going to stick to it. Whereas if you really want to do it, you sort of find a way, won't you, and enjoy it and feel better and genuinely feel like you're doing something for yourself. I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Whoops, Daisy, sorry, Zoom's flashed something up.
What have you done?
Sorry, no, it's okay. I went to the next question and then panicked, so I had no idea what was coming. The next question that came in was, if you could advise one 5-minute exercise a day to help with general fitness or mindset in a busy mum schedule, what would it be? I know we've talked about oven squats and other things, but is that, if you could only think of one for a busy mum schedule, which one would it be?
So for me, for exercising, getting that heart rate up, and even from helping from a mental point of view, putting your favorite tunes on in the kitchen, in the living room, wherever you are, and having a boogie, and whether that's for 2, 3, 4 songs or whatever it is, because please, I have not found anyone who can tell me that after a bit of a dance, having a move around, you just don't get all those endorphins going and you that happiness and the feeling of like you're invincible. That to me that's exactly what I do. If I'm having a bit of a lull, I will put my favorite tunes on and that's it. I'm off dancing.
I like that, and I suppose it's something you can involve the kids with as well. I think
This
Emily's
is
a
it.
secret Bon Jovi fan, we found out somehow. Like whenever Bon Jovi pops on the radio, she is headbanging. So yeah, it has to be one of them over here.
But that's it, because again, you're able to include the children into things as well. I mean, it's like I teach PE in a nursery, and we do yoga, and they're like, yeah, my mummy does this and I know this movement, so that the kids resonate with things that they're interested in and that the parents are sort of introducing them into. So again, having a dance with your children in the kitchen is making exercise fun, and it's not creating a shameful thing and a stigma around it.
No, and Sophie Ellis-Bextor did a good job, didn't she, at creating the kitchen disco over lockdown
Yes!
anyway. Every Friday.
I forgot about that. That was really popular, wasn't it?
There you go, get Sophie Ellis-Bextor on the tune.
Yeah.
Oh God, imagine. Can I ask the next one? This made me chuckle actually.
Yeah, go for it.
This was someone that put on the comments that they're still in mince pie mode, which just made me chuckle this side of Christmas. And she said, can I ask how the hell do you fit exercise into a routine? I really struggle. I always feel like I need to be doing uni work or housework or something else as a priority first.
Yeah. Again, it's a lot, isn't it? So in the sense of they're studying as well, and housework, everything else, there's a lot going on there. So again, there's that feeling of overwhelm with it. But then, like I said, again, it's, to me, how do we need to, it's breaking it down. So what's your view on it, in the sense of, again, are you wanting to exercise but feeling that there's so much going on that you don't have the time to do it? Or again, is it a case of feeling like I should be? And again, how am I meant to fit into it? And that's where it is thinking about what's fun to you from an exercise point of view. So as I've mentioned, even doing the housework is an exercise in itself. If you are studying, getting out of the house and just going for some fresh air and getting a walk, that's going to be so beneficial to you as well. Or then, like, you can even do 3 10-minute workouts if you're wanting to a day, when you're using that as your break time away from your studies and away from what your home life is, just to give you that sort of little switch off where you can have that time, and it has to be that escape for you. So that's, again, it's sort of understanding what that person's goal is. If it's a case of that they're still eating the mince pies and they've got everything else going on, then it's understanding what they're sort of wanting the end result to be. I mean, the mince pies are going to go, aren't they? So you won't have to be worrying about those for too long. But it's just after that as well. But it's always ensuring you're dedicating time for yourself, especially if there's so much like that going on.
And that's the hard bit, isn't it? I mean, I think we've talked a few times anyway on the page and things about mums and self-care, and it's just it's so important, but yeah, it seems to be sort of the last thing on the list, obviously, for a lot of us.
That's it, and I think it is, and it's a case of time always seems to be everyone's barrier. But I think it's because there's such an association around you meant to be training for up to an hour a time to get any sort of results at all, and that's really not the case. It literally is just about keeping your body moving. You don't even have to be, I'm not talking about tracking steps, I'm just literally thinking every hour, or you know, making yourself aware that you need to get up from your seat if you're sedentary a lot of the day and just moving around, even going to make the brew, going to the toilet, taking the dogs out, you know, if you have pets, or going out with the children, anything like that. It's all moving, and then that coupled with the fact of staying hydrated and getting yourself into a good routine with your meals, you're going to be on a win-win situation straight away, and that's when you'll start to see results, which will then trigger you to want to carry on into the next phase of it.
Yes, I need to get to that bit. It's unfair the kids get all the energy, isn't it?
Yeah. But you guys are preparing all the right foods for them, aren't you? So in the sense of, you know, it's
Sometimes. There's the odd bit of plain pasta and Freddo's thrown in, I think, is fair to say.
Chocolate spread sandwiches for school.
You're covering 2 of the food groups, carbs and fat, so you know.
We'll take it.
I like this, Lisa. You can justify it to school for us.
Brilliant. So the next one we've got is from somebody who's had a few sort of negative experiences, really. So do you think it's potentially damaging both physically and mentally for women if fitness instructors have no training or knowledge of postpartum bodies? So the example given there is around pelvic organ prolapse, and just having that knowledge about how to breathe and engage a pelvic floor, really. So just a question around the expertise and if there's any risks around that, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's if someone, so ideally, so from my position, I'm not trained, I don't have the qualification for post or prenatal, but you're able to train women who've had children after 12 weeks after having give birth. You can start introducing exercise into their routine again. If women have had sorry, my dog, he won't go away, so he's on the call as well. This is
No, don't worry.
So in the sense of, it can be, if you've approached someone in the gym asking for help, for example, a personal trainer to help you with that, and they don't have the knowledge, they should signpost you to someone that does. And that's exactly what we should be doing. It's that referral system of, I'm so sorry, I'm not able to help you with this, but I know, you know, Sophie down the road or whatever, she's qualified within this, and that's where I'd help you. And that's what really should be done from that whole signposting point of view. You might get a lot of people who are wanting to try and take on any client that they can, but don't have that sort of qualification and expertise to be able to do that. But there are common things after having given birth, because of the exercises that you can do to help with that pelvic floor as well, because it's a mental thing as much as a physical thing too. Again, sort of, you can see how it all goes back to the sort of mental aspect. Top down, absolutely. So I think it's damaging in the sense, if you're not given a referral or a next point of contact for you to go to 100%. And I think you should be aware of the sort of kind of training and knowledge that a trainer does have, if they're really true to themselves.
And is it important then for so when mums are going back to exercise, they almost need to kind of say, I've had a baby in the last however many weeks, to that person up front, so that they're aware of?
Yes, yeah, because
I would anyway, but just in case. Yeah,
as a trainer, you're meant to have a consultation with them, so you would be made aware of that, to which then will allow you to sort of navigate your way out of it. So yeah, you'd never expect a client to go up to a personal trainer and then to be turning around and say, great, we'll get you on the gym floor now, let's go. You'd have to have that conversation to be able to understand what's gone on.
And is that the same kind of for, I'm just thinking of the other way, so say somebody went to body pump or aerobics or something, you know, like the local classes, and they, I don't know, were 12, 13 weeks postpartum and they just turned up. Is it a good idea then as well, I suppose, because it's those kind of classes, isn't it, that people think, oh, I'll get back to, and actually if the person, I suppose, at the front of class isn't aware of what state their body's in, I suppose they might end up just doing the whole class as normal and not realizing the effects it would have. I suppose it's a two-way street, really, isn't it, between you and the person taking the class?
Because it's all about communication, isn't it? I used to be a spin instructor, and before every class I would be saying, is there anything I should be aware of from anybody in terms of any injuries or anything? And that's when the person should be volunteering to you what's going on. You don't have an obligation as an instructor to do any more than that.
Well, you can't, can you?
No, but as a person, I would be going up to the instructor and saying, I'm not able to do this because of X, Y, Z. And a lot of people will say, for example, I'm not able to do that exercise, so you can find a substitute for it. But then the instructors will be able to see where the clients are struggling, if they're not performing something, if they're slowing down with something. So it really is, it's all about that trust aspect of it as well, and feeling you should always feel comfortable and confident saying, sorry, hands up, I'm not able to do that because of whatever reason it is.
Brilliant, thank you. So yeah, ultimately, if the knowledge isn't there, it can be damaging, can't it?
100%. And if you're not feeling comfortable yourself within that situation, then go, don't waste any more time in it.
Brilliant, thank you. I'll find the next one now. Oh, what exercises are best to introduce back into your day after having SPD during pregnancy? And I'm sorry, I can't remember what it stands for.
Symphysis pubis dysfunction.
Oh, thank you.
I'm glad you said that.
Okay, well, with this, there are exercises that you can do for this for sure. But if you are suffering from pain with this, then you should be referred to a physical therapist. So definitely. But they do recommend, for example, slowly introducing yourself by doing walking, as easy as that. So just keeping it very slow, minimal movements. Squatting as well, so exercises also in terms of where you're going to be engaging that core. So it's a combination of realignment and mobilization that you can do. Like I said, if there's no pain that you're suffering yourself from it, that you can do on your own. Otherwise, there would be that referral, and again, that would come down to a consultation.
Okay, brilliant. I'm very fortunate, actually. I didn't suffer with it through either of mine, but I know a few of my friends did, and they were in a lot of pain. It didn't look fun at all, bless them. But
yeah, it's a yes, I've not been through it myself, but absolutely is that understanding. If the pain's there, then it's a long process to sort of get back into it, but absolutely it's a longer journey than other people to be able to get back into the physical activity you were doing before.
yeah.
So next we've got, what are the best exercises to help with split tummy muscles? I think this is a little bit linked to the postpartum checks you get as well, because when with my first pregnancy, after that one, I remember getting a really brief checkup with a GP, and it was kind of a little check of your tummy muscles. And then afterwards I went to like a mum fitness class, and they did quite a lot of checks on it there. Whereas with my second one, I didn't get the checkup at all with my GP because of COVID. The baby got the check and not the mum. And I didn't do a similar fitness class. So I've actually never had mine checked. So probably a lot of mums aren't aware whether they've got the split tummy muscles or not, but it does affect a lot of mums, isn't it? So yeah, if there's any tips around exercises that are good for that, that would be really helpful.
There's about 5 exercises that I do recommend. Now, these words probably won't mean anything to you, but I have done a little video in regards to giving a demonstration for what all of these exercises are. So they are, there's called dead bugs.
Oh, I know what they are.
Yes, yeah.
I didn't get them for ages, but yeah, they are. I quite like them, actually.
Yeah, so it's like almost like, yeah, your hands and your arms are up in the air, and you're bringing down the opposite hand and opposite leg, so right down, stretched out. So you're really stretching out your pelvis area and around your hip flexors. And again, you can have, that's where we're getting that engagement within the core, and it's ensuring that you really are. The best way to explain it to help you with your abs too, it's as if someone is about to come and punch you in that stomach. Your natural reaction is going to be sucking it in, and that's how you're wanting to be when you're lying on the floor as well, doing your little dead bug on the floor. Heel slides is another one. Bridges, also really good for your bottom as well by doing the bridges. Leg raises and tabletops. So it's almost like the tabletop being a flipped version of the dead bug. So
of course.
yes. So like I said, I've done a video for that to show you the demonstration of each of those exercises. They are the ones that I recommend. They're least impactful in regards to helping with those kind of areas. It's nice, you can lie down a little bit as well, and sort of be comfortable, and you can do that absolutely anywhere you want to. You can do it in your pajamas, you don't have to be in any sort of clothing or environment to sort of be doing those exercises. So I was going to upload that onto YouTube, and then I can share the link with you guys for any of the ladies who might be interested in that, just so that they're not having to Google everything.
Yeah, thank you.
No, that would be fantastic. Thank you so much. That's really great.
My pleasure.
I'll be on that.
Yeah, me too. Be straight onto it.
Oh, right. From your experience, Lisa, do you feel that the knowledge us women have about our bodies postpartum is good enough?
No, but then I don't think the knowledge that women have non or postpartum, I don't think we have the knowledge at all in terms of what our bodies are actually capable of. And again, I don't think we know what our limitations really are. I don't think we listen to our bodies enough.
No,
And
I tend to fight mine a lot, which I shouldn't do. And I know I shouldn't do it, but it's like when you get headaches, isn't it? And you just kind of ignore them until it ends up being a migraine. I don't know why we do it.
This is it. We just don't want to slow down, and that's the absolute problem of it. I think it's just we feel like we're having to just keep running and running until we no longer we physically just can't move anymore. And it really is so important to listen to what your body's telling you. So if you are exhausted, you need to take time out. If you are feeling really run down, you need to ensure that you're hydrating and fueling yourself the right way to help you get better. But I just don't think there's that support there either in regards to postpartum. I know that the way that women were having children, they were having the midwives are literally holding their hands all the way through from beginning to end in regards to having a child, and all of that's been taken away. So there isn't enough information out there, and then there becomes a huge reliance on going onto the internet and Googling symptoms and things ourselves. And I think it's so important to have like an environment like you ladies have created, where you can have those discussions and share your stories and share your experiences of what you've been through to help each other out of it. And that's what I think is really important.
Yeah, me too. And I don't know about you, Laura, but it's almost that how people open up and talk about all of it as well. As in, you find things out and you get to the point where you might bring it out with your friends or something and figure out that somebody else has got it. But actually the whole, like the pelvic floor, I thought it wasn't too bad. I remember walking across the park, not long after I had Phoebe, and you're like, oh, okay, everything's not fine. Okay. And I think, yeah, the expectations are almost wrong to start with, because you don't know. I don't know. Trouble is, there's a fine line, I suppose, isn't there, between telling people the reality of it and terrifying them beforehand, and
Yes.
sort of preparing somebody for. But it is, isn't it? Yeah, lots of things that sort of happen. And yeah, like split tummy muscles, SPD, I suppose none of that even came on my radar before kids at all. But
no, and people don't, everyone has a different experience to it, don't they? So you could even say what your experience was to somebody, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to have the same experience themselves. So it's just, yeah, unfortunately, there's, like I said, there's just so many different anomalies out there that can happen.
it's a long way to go, isn't there?
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think we've got one more question, I think, from the ones that were submitted beforehand, and then we'll just go back and check the live chat. So the final one we had was, I'm rejoining the gym, and since hitting perimenopause, fatigue and heaviness brought me to a sudden stop. But some people are saying too much exercise is worse than perimenopause. Please help.
Well done for rejoining a gym. I think that's a huge step to take.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So all for that. Well done. I think there's so much, again, in the media around menopause and what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. Now, I can honestly say it doesn't, whatever exercise is always going to be beneficial for you. So absolutely, in the sense of, you do struggle more from fatigue in perimenopause. You've obviously got the sweats as well. There's a lot going on with your hormones, so there's a lot of having to try to understand, again, listening to your body, what you're capable of doing and what you can do. What I do, a large of my face-to-face client base are going through the menopause at the moment. So there is a lot of fatigue there, and it's stripping things back as well in terms of what their capabilities are, which also do change on a daily basis as well. So it's never going to be, always plain sailing in terms of every session that we're doing. So, but strength training, interval training, walking, they're all fantastic ways of being able to exercise during the perimenopause. So strength training, you're preventing the muscle loss. Interval training, you're getting that heart rate up, so it's short bursts of energy. So things like your high intensity training, where, for example, you might be doing an exercise for 30 seconds, like going really fast at it, having a 30-second rest, and then going back again. So it's all about sort of keeping that heart rate up nice and high. And then that walking as well. So again, that full body movement to keep your activity up without adding any stress onto you or your muscles either. So I think it's just, again, if you're back into that gym environment, it's knowing what you're comfortable doing, having a plan when you're walking into the gym, and knowing that you can only be there half an hour if you want to be. It's just making sure you're getting a bit of a mix of everything within there. So elevating the heart rate, getting some strength training in there too.
That makes sense. And it's hormones are really powerful things, aren't they? whether you're perimenopause or not, whatever stage really. And I think that's something that we all have to deal with in different ways, isn't it? Just through your monthly cycles and so on. Like, you can have, a lot of women have at least 50% of the month where they feel absolutely terrible from to your hormones and their cycles and so on. So I think it's those things, isn't it, that you can keep doing all through the month, because if you don't do anything those times where you feel a bit rubbish or the hormones aren't treating you well, then it can wipe out a huge amount of your month.
Yeah,
that's it. And I think it's just sort of, like I said, just going with it as well. Just don't feel that it's trying to break down that overwhelm. Like I said, if you just take it into small little chunks, and sort of, like I said, ensuring that you're doing what you do enjoy out of it, then you'll see that progress, and you'll be able to keep going and work your way through it as well.
Yeah,
no, definitely. Sorry, you got my mind whirring. That's the problem. It's hard to sort of host a live chat when your brain's going, and I'm thinking, what's really, I'm trying to process it all in time. Sorry, so excuse me going back a second. Now comes the tricky tech bit, I think, doesn't it? So that's all the questions that people submitted. So thank you very, very much. I hope you've been able to sort of listen and hear the answer to your questions. We were now going to see if there's any other live questions over on Facebook, but I'm failing miserably here at even finding the Facebook live. According to my Facebook, we're not live at all, even though we are. So Laura, have you got it on yours? Sorry.
I have got it. I can't see. We've had lots of people watching and some interactions, but no additional questions so far. So if anybody does want to send them in, we'll try and squeeze them in. So we've just got a couple of other bits we we're going to cover as well. So I'll keep an eye on chat in case any last minute questions come in.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
No, don't worry.
Really, I suppose it was just, I guess, kind of summarising, because like what I was just saying, I think my head, I'm trying to process everything you've said. There's been so many really useful sort of tips in there. And I guess the things for me, in terms of sort of to summarise kind of the healthy habits and things that mums can introduce would be water, coffee and wine in brackets, but water, stay hydrated, the little exercises during the day. So I've got oven squats in my head, so that's just going to stick oven squats and the baked bean bells at the kettle, and just small things, and dancing around really, and just kind of, I suppose, yeah, like you, making sure your head's in the right place, having fun with it and doing what you feel you can do, I suppose, so you feel like you're winning at it, as opposed to always feeling guilty that you're not running 5k or something like that. Is that what I think they'd be if I was to summarise, I think that'd be the bit I'd pull out. Have I missed anything? Or
no, I'd definitely say that absolutely it is. It's just stripping it back. It's like I said, you don't have to be doing what people's perception is I should only be eating 1,200 calories a day, I should be exercising 6 times a week, and that's it. I shouldn't be having any chocolate, any drink, any nothing. And that really isn't the case. And that's what I mean. It's just literally trying to find what makes you happy, what is your go-to in terms of an exercise or some sort of routine that makes you happy, but ensuring that you're staying hydrated, ensuring that you are eating as well. So in the sense of, even if it's just eating with your family, if you can do, an evening meal, trying not to pick at the sort of the leftovers that the kids are having as well. And then also,
I'm guilty of that one, I have to say. Can't resist the chicken nugget on the side.
And control your breathing too. Just take your moment as well. I do a breathing where it's called the 3-4-5. You breathe in for 3, you hold that breath for 4, and then you let it out for 5 seconds. And it's just allowing yourself to just take a moment, stop in terms of what's ever going on, and just give yourself that calm, because that, again, that's what it's all about too.
That's a nice one, actually. I think I need to remember that for lots of times at work.
Yes.
Especially, when you get that email before you reply. 3, 4, 5.
Oh yes, yeah, always do,
5.
always, yeah.
We've had a couple of comments. So one of them said from Lauren that says me 3, and I think that might have been around wanting to have a little look at the videos you mentioned.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Yes, absolutely.
All the wine, all the chicken nuggets, all that. No, I'm joking. I'm sure it probably was.
And then and Charlie said, not a question, just wanted to say thank you. It's been so useful.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm really pleased.
Oh, they're really nice. Trying to put us back in now. Great. Oh, Lisa, we need to ask you a question. So at the end of our live chats, we've decided to sort of ask the same question to all our guests sort of coming up. So if you had one ultimate survival tip for health and well-being, what would it be?
Oh gosh, run a
Quite put you on
marathon.
the spot.
Run a marathon.
I'm joking. So for me, excuse me, for health and well-being, it's taking time for yourself. So it's finding, I know we have time as a barrier, but it's just finding even 5 minutes a day, just where you have that moment for yourself, where you stop doing what you're doing and you're just enjoying that moment. And that can be anything from, like, I've started reading again, for example, just fiction books, but in the sense of, for years I never read, and I now use that 5-10 minutes where it's a distraction for me and something that I'm actually wanting to concentrate on. That's finding, like I said, that little nugget for you, and that helps absolutely from a health point of view and also from your well-being.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. I'm really grateful.
Oh, pleasure, absolute pleasure.
So is there anything you would like to say, anything else really that you want to say to any of the tired mums that are listening?
Well, I was going to say, in the sense of, hopefully people have found it useful. There might be, if people are watching back as well, there might be some further questions that they're wanting to sort of ask. Now, I've got I'm more than happy to have a phone call. There's no obligation, there's no charge or anything like that, but if people want to book a call with me just to go over maybe like a 90-day plan, in the sense of, like I've talked about, how you're starting at the top, getting your sort of mind in the right frame of mind, talking about how you can start introducing those habits, you know, looking at your nutrition in terms of what you can do to help with that and sort of get into a better routine. So more than happy for any of the ladies who are wanting to maybe have a further conversation, a follow-up conversation around that. Also on my Instagram page, there's, within a highlight, there's an about me highlights, and within there you can click a link that actually gives you some free information. So in terms of, there's some exercise routines in there if ladies are wanting to do something and have a bit of a gamble in terms of doing some exercises at home. Talks about nutrition and how you're looking at things from a different perspective. So again, it's another free tool if they're wanting to sort of take advantage of that, but also to just, yeah, if they're comfortable reaching out to me over anything, I'd be more than happy to answer any further questions that they might have over the next few days.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. We've had a little question sneak in. So one bit of feedback really to say, thank you so much. Someone who's been a bit poorly, they're going to look at doing extra exercises when they're waiting for the kettle to boil. And then we've got a question from a tired dad. I need to get my ass back into gear and start getting healthy again. What tips have you got for finding that motivation to take the first steps and start the process?
The motivation one. Oh yeah, it is a good one, and that's about what your goal is. So your motivation is you, in terms of where do you want to be. So if it's a case of you want to be able to enter a 10k run this year, for example, there's something there for you to work towards, which means that you're going to be wanting to turn up every day, in the sense of ensuring that you're ticking all the habit boxes of your hydration, of moving, so even getting steps in every day, doing a bit of exercise, meditation, that kind of thing. You have to have an end goal to it, so you know that constant, that reason why in terms of what you're doing, and it's a smart goal that you want to be looking at. So that's definitely my advice. But breaking everything down one step at a time. Don't be rushing into doing everything at once, because that is when you'll be like, no, too much, I'm pulling away from this.
See, I'd like to do a headstand. That's a goal. That sounds a bit random, but I've always said I wanted to do one. But I think I might actually need to make it an actual goal at some point, so that I can figure out how to get there, because I'd be dead chat. And if I could do it on a paddleboard, that'd be even better. But that's goal 2.
That's it. But that's exactly it. It's starting from a point where, yeah, absolutely, that's something that I wanted to do. You can start off just leaning against the wall, can't you, doing a headstand against the wall? That's what we used to do as kids, isn't it?
I know, I'm a bit nervous to do that, but yeah, I might actually have a look.
It's building up from that.
Yeah, we've had a really nice message in from a granny And my mum and a granny. I'm a big believer in listening to your body and not overdoing things. Our children always come first, but we need to be feeling the best we can to look after our loved ones in the best way we can. And having a few minutes every day just to do some deep breaths, read a magazine, or a few squats and pelvic tilts, or a walk outside can sometimes make us feel ready for the next day. Just 5 minutes of our time. It's nice to get those tips, isn't it, through generations and sort of pass things down, because you do learn as you go along, don't you? It's nice to share it.
Yeah, it is, and that's exactly it. Celebrate your wins. Celebrate your wins. Focus on those for the next day as well.
We're not very good at that, are we? We seem to
No.
always beat ourselves up naturally, but we're not very good at celebrating the wins. I like hearing people's tips. I never even thought of pelvic tilts and little things like that. So I like hearing other people's bits on how they fit it in.
That's
So I can
exactly.
copy, really.
Yes.
I think that brings it nicely to a bit of an end now, doesn't it?
I think so.
From us, I suppose we've got a little piece of, I think it's exciting news, but we've now got a YouTube channel as well. So we said, I think we possibly put it in our last chat. We said one of our goals was to make sure we want to do this kind of as a series, to have a Tired Mums Coffee live chat series. Obviously this is, I keep saying episode 2, that makes us sound a bit posh, but anyway, it is number 2. So we've started up our YouTube channel. So if you Google Tired Mums Coffee YouTube, we are actually the first that comes up. I'm quite proud about that. So yeah, if you want to check it out, sometimes it's just slightly easier, isn't it, than trying to scroll through the Facebook or the Instagram to try and find the uploads and things. So we've put them all on YouTube. So obviously as the chats unfold and we get more and more, we'll post them up there. So the aim is to post on there tomorrow. So if anybody wants to watch it back, it doesn't have to be exclusive sort of to Facebook. You can go over to the YouTube channel and they'll be there for, well, however long they remain on there, forever, I think. So yeah, just wanted to share that with you all, really.
Well done. Congratulations, ladies.
Thank you. We're getting there, one step at a time, one cup at a time.
Absolutely.
One cup at a time, yeah.
So the only final note from us, really, on top of YouTube, our website, we snuck out the other day that obviously the website's live. So if you want to check that out, please do. Please have a look at well, anything to do with us. Please tell your friends, please like and share. The more you can do, obviously we are so grateful for that. And if anybody does want to treat themselves to some coffee, help yourselves. The website's live, or pop us a DM, whichever you prefer. And basically support other mums, help us to support other mums. 1% of all coffee sales goes back into supporting mums. So the more we can sell, the more we can support. So thank you very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed and found it useful, and we'll see you hopefully at the next one.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Speak to you soon. Take care. Bye. Bye. Bye.